So you just picked up photography, went out with your new camera to the great outdoors, exploring new areas for inspiration, took a bunch of photos, and you look at them later on and say, it's gonna be good if I had a better camera. No, it won't. What you really need is new lenses. No. It's to understand the ingredients in making a good photo. And on this video, I'm going to take you to a coastline here in Hong Kong on a wet, rainy day and share with you the recipe to elevate the way you take photos. The first ingredient is to have a strong subject. A photo is for a viewer to look at, so photographers need to give them a reason too. Give them a point where to focus on the image. Now your subject could be something epic like a mountain or skyscraper with unique features, but it can also be daily random things like a tree, a person, or anything that can be made more interesting by its interactions with the environment around it. So that's why you'll see me often posing in different landscapes, because I'm a strong subject. For this particular composition, I'm making use of the curves in the landscape and the puddles within the cave as my leading line towards the background behind. And I can see that there's a boat towards the background, which I'm placing on the upper right third of the frame. And I'm trying to cut out as much sky as possible as well, because it's not really adding too much value in the image, because there's not a lot of details or texture in the clouds. Having the ship being framed by the cave really saved this image, because otherwise there is no payoff to the leading lines made by the spots of water and cracks in landscape, as the sky was too empty and overcast. Another composition I made to overcome the lack in sky interest was to place myself in the areas of high contrast in the scene to become the subject and introduce scale in the photo. And the next ingredient is more megapixels. Your composition. Simply put, photography is an art of subtraction. You have a view in front of you filled with chaotic and unorganized elements, and it is your job to remove as many distractions as possible. To show you what I'm talking about, if I take a photo from here, you can see that the sign is a bit distracting and blocks your way from the islands behind, which is the main subject of the image that I was trying to capture. And this part of the landscape is overlapping with the islands at the back, which you want to avoid because just like your ex-girlfriend, you have to give it space. A composition is bringing things together to form a visual flow or story within an image. There are many compositional techniques that you can apply, such as the rule of thirds, leading lines, symmetry, natural framing, contrast, depth of field, and many more. You can also apply multiple compositional techniques in an image to make it a lot more interesting. If you take the same subject and the same composition over and over again but on different times, you will still end up with a different photo. And that is because the use of new filters. And that is because the weather and the light changes. So you need to consider this whenever you're out shooting for landscape photography. There's a forecast for cloud inversions. Go high up to the mountains. Clear blue sky with harsh lighting. Maybe do some street photography. And for the forecast today, it's going to be overcast and rainy. So here I am hoping for some wavy and moody seascapes. So for this composition, I'm trying to make use of the greens because I do like the contrast of the greens with the orange of the rocks, and it sort of leads your eyes throughout the landscape over that sharp peak at the top. And I think the structure and the texture of the rocks in this landscape is just nice. I really liked how the greens popped out in this image and became a strong foreground, directing your eyes throughout the frame and the unique patterns formed by the rocks at the background. And the next ingredient is, that's right, subscribing. It's going to be repetition. Nothing beats experience. Practice the habit of going out, and you can do this anywhere. You can just go to your local neighborhood or travel somewhere new. Hone your eyes in identifying the different elements that you can arrange for your image. Repeat this again and again, and eventually these compositions will be easier to identify. So I'm just scouting around to find a few more compositions, and I'm about as wet as a Tinder date on Valentine's Day. This is challenging stuff in these conditions, but it's still good to be out. I can see there's like a guy over there, and I just took a photo because I found he stands out in the image, focusing in the contrast between the highlights of the sky and in the shadows of the landscape. This is a highly experimental edit I made to exaggerate the contrast of the backlight and silhouette the landscape and man holding the umbrella with a cooler blue tone. Let me know what you guys thought of this image. Okay, so I think this is a really nice spot. You can see like there's a bend in the landscape, and then there's a really epic, moody vibe from over there at the distance, which I think looks quite dramatic. One quick tip for seascapes is to take as many photos as you can, because each shot will have a unique wave pattern that you can use as an element. It is incredible. You can already see that the sky over there is breaking up and there's more texture in the clouds now. So one final tip for you is when you're already out, just stick it out, because you never really know when the weather is going to change. It's very, very unpredictable, and you won't really see it until you come out. So I'm going to share with you the final set of photos, and hopefully you took away something important from this video that you can apply in your own photography so that you can take better shots in the future. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching.